Presiding Officer, I was pleased in this session of Parliament for the first time to respond positively to an invitation to become a member of the Highland Reserve Forces and Cadets Association. So I have that limited connection with many former servicemen. Now, of course, for servicemen, the transition to civilian life from active duty largely will go without event. My best man served for several decades in the Army. In 1991, I happened to be on a flight from Sydney to Auckland and found myself sitting beside Les Munro, who was one of the dam buster pilots. He clearly prospered in civilian life. Hopefully, my great-great-grandfather, Andrew Barlow, who served with the Royal Corps of Drivers between 1813 and 1818, he doesn't appear to have been at Waterloo, however. He seems to have come out of it okay, and my great-great-great-grandfather, David Berry, who was in the Navy from 1780 to 1782, similarly seems to have prospered. They presumably, like many of our servicemen today, found wonderful, welcoming groups of families and communities whom they would draw on for support as they returned to civilian life. But not all are so fortunate. Indeed, even in the walk from Waverley Station to Parliament, which I do 6 times a week, I know that I pass some less fortunate ex-servicemen. There's one in particular I regularly have a chat with. He's doing well, but he is sitting on the pavement with a little bowl in front of him, and when I have change, he gets my change. It's little enough, but it is something that I would wish to do. He has been failed with the system from the conversations I've had with him, and I'm uncertain what would help him. But he is perhaps the exception. He's not, as far as I'm aware, someone suffering from PTSD. That's at least an identifiable condition that we can give support to enable, because people with that kind of condition often experience frustration, aggression, and are subject to bouts of violence. And of course, that leads to difficulties in employment, relationships, and so on. So mental health support is often one of the most important things that that minority of ex-service personnel who have that kind of issue require. The support they get across Scotland is variable. I think that's a fair comment. So Mike Rumble's reference to the need to make sure that there's access to the right kind of services in his amendment to the motion, I think is a proper and timely one. We have a lot going on to be proud of in Scotland. We have something like 50+ veterans organisations. I think last time we debated the subject, there was a little debate about the numbers, and I think Maurice Corrie suggests it was rather higher than that, and I'm sure he will be correct. We all know about Poppy Scotland. That's one that we've just been wearing on our lapels, and it's a great tribute to Poppy Scotland that 100 years after the origin of the poppy as a symbol of remembrance, we continue to use it to this day. Everywhere we go, there are memorials to those who lost their lives, be it the Scots who lost their lives in the American Civil War, where the memorial is in the Old Colton Cemetery, the Boer War Memorial on North Bridge, and in every town, village and hamlet, memorials to those who fell in the 2 great wars of the 20th century. And in West Lothian, I'm aware of a memorial to the Korean War. But now we owe our duty to those who live on, who need our continuing support. I'm sure we will all wish to give it. Presiding Officer.